So just yesterday, there was a huge announcement by Gary Bettman, the NHL commissioner, regarding the NHL's plans for the 2020 NHL playoffs as well as the draft lottery. So in today's video, I wanted to go over what I think of the NHL's plans for the playoffs and the draft lottery. I'm not planning to do any playoff predictions as of right now, but I might do that at a later date when the playoffs start. And as always, it would be greatly appreciated if you do subscribe to the channel, as I do appreciate all of the support you guys give me. It really helps out a lot. And now I have officially made a concrete uploading schedule, so I will be uploading every Wednesday and every Sunday, so expect new videos coming out every Wednesday and every Sunday. But without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So I wanted to start out by looking at the final 2019-20 NHL standings. And so you guys know, these graphics are from the NHL's Instagram account from one of their videos from the NHL's Return to Play plans, so yeah. So Gary Bettman did announce that the 2019-20 regular season is officially over, so that means the final standings were based off of points percentage, so these will be the teams on the screen right now that will compete in the 24-team playoff format. In the East, we have Boston, Tampa Bay, Washington, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Carolina, the New York Islanders, Toronto, Columbus, Florida, the New York Rangers, and Montreal. And in the West, we have St. Louis, Colorado, Vegas, Dallas, Edmonton, Nashville, Vancouver, Calgary, Winnipeg, Minnesota, Arizona, and Chicago. Honestly, my opinion on the 24-team playoff format is a little bit mixed, as at the start I was really pushing for the NHL to be able to finish the regular season, play a full 82-game season, and then have a regular playoffs. But now looking at how they're going to do the playoffs, it isn't a terrible idea, honestly, and I do kind of like it. And I honestly think it would be very interesting if, say, a team like Montreal, that was the 12th seed in the East, they were a 500 record, went on into the playoffs over Pittsburgh. Now, some of you that have not heard about what has happened in the NHL and the return to play plan might be asking what is happening to the other teams that are not in the 2014 playoff format, and I will talk about that after I talk about the play-in matchups and how the playoffs will work. So let's get into the playoffs. So to start off, the top 4 teams in each conference will get a bye into the first round, so that means they have already clinched a playoff spot technically. And I believe originally the NHL was going to just not have them play any games and go straight into the first round, but some teams were complaining that play-in teams would have an advantage since their players would have already played technically a series and be kind of warmed up already, whereas these top 4 teams would be coming into the playoffs cold. So what will happen now is that these teams will play a 3-game regular season type series, if you want to call it. It's a round robin to see the seeding for the playoffs. For example, the Boston Bruins in the East are not guaranteed the number 1 seed as of right now, as they will play 3 games, 1 against Tampa Bay, 1 against Washington, and 1 against Philadelphia, so it's interconference, and whoever is the top team out of all that round robin will be the number 1 seed in the conference. In my opinion, I do agree with the NHL on this move, and I think it is a very smart one, and honestly a very fair one, as it would not be fair to these top 4 teams, since they would be coming in cold. I know there is a Phase 3 that the NHL announced, where that is where the training camps happen, but that's still not real hockey games, and these other teams, these lower seeded teams, would have already played technically playoff games and would be already warmed up. So if you want to ask the Lightning about that, I can guarantee you they like this idea. So these will be the official play-in round matchups. So in the East, we have Pittsburgh versus Montreal, Carolina versus the New York Rangers, the New York Islanders versus Florida, and Toronto versus Columbus. And in the West, we have Edmonton versus Chicago, Nashville versus Arizona, Vancouver versus Minnesota, and Calgary versus Winnipeg. And in these play-in rounds, we see some very interesting matchups. And I know the NHL was originally going to do a best of 3 series, but I heard some rumors that there were some teams like the Oilers and the Penguins that kind of wanted it to be a best of 5 solely because of a guy like Patrick Kane or Carey Price. They could just go on fire and steal a series. So that's kind of an interesting thing to take note of. Of course, I'm not 100% sure if that was a real thing or not, but it's interesting to speculate. And personally, I'm kind of happy that a team like Florida or Arizona has a pretty good chance at getting in the playoffs, because they're kind of one of my underdog favorite teams that I just really want them to succeed, just because I almost kind of feel bad for them of how, for example, Florida has been supposed to make the playoffs for like the past 3 or 4 years and they've missed every single time. So I really want them to make it in, trust me. So shout out to any Panthers and Coyotes fans that are watching this video, and sorry the entire league makes fun of you for having no fans. Although maybe it's kind of true. And as a Maple Leafs fan myself, I'm very scared for a series against Columbus. You look at what they did in the 2019 playoffs against Tampa Bay last year and what they're capable of doing, and they were supposed to be a basement team this year, and they are really good, surprisingly, carried by just being good. I don't even know, honestly. I really don't even know. They lost all their star players, and they're still a relevant team. And I would not be surprised if the Maple Leafs choked, because it's the Maple Leafs. Shout out to any fellow Maple Leafs fans out there, because, oh boy. Overall, I don't mind this format. I think it's pretty good. Is it perfect? No, but I don't think anything the NHL could have done would have been perfect to everyone out there. And plus, there's some pretty damn interesting matchups that will be going down in the play-in rounds. So I'm just going to be happy that hockey will be back. So, moving on to the NHL Draft Lottery and how things will pan out for that, because that is a whole different level of confusing. So, as normal, the 7 teams that missed the 24-team playoff format will be placed in reverse order for the odds for the lottery. So that means Detroit finished last in the league. They get the best odds at the first overall pick. But after that, it gets pretty interesting. So Gary Bettman described it as possibly being a two-phase draft lottery, meaning that if one of the play-in losing teams wins a top 3 pick, then they will have to have a second lottery, which I will expand on in a second. So as you can see, the odds for 8 to 15 are not actually listed as a team, and that is because that will be filled by all of the play-in round losing teams. So basically, if the first lottery takes place and one of the placeholder picks, as they're calling them, wins a top 3 selection, then they will have a second lottery out of all the teams from 8 to 15 that lost in the play-in rounds, and those teams will all get an equal 12.5% chance of winning that pick that ended up being a top 3 pick. Say, for example, the first lottery is conducted and Detroit wins the first pick, New Jersey wins the second pick, and then the third pick is, say, number 10, Team C, that placeholder pick. Then they will conduct a second lottery to see which team out of the play-in losers gets that third overall pick. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of this way of doing the lottery because, for example, Montreal beats Pittsburgh in the play-in round, just somehow, right? Carey Price becomes a god. Then Pittsburgh, who was a 5th seed in the Eastern Conference, all of a sudden has a pretty good shot at a top 3 pick, considering, for example, the number 8 placeholder pick has a 6% chance of winning the lottery, okay? So, and then Pittsburgh would have a 12.5% chance. Say if that placeholder pick gets a lottery, Pittsburgh would have a 12.5% chance of getting a top 3 pick or wherever that placeholder pick ended up. One thing I would change about this format is different odds for the placeholder picks. For example, if the placeholder pick gets 3rd overall, instead of having each play-in losing team get the same odds for that pick, you go by seeding, right? So the lower seed team will get a higher chance at getting that pick than the higher seeded team, which I think would be more fair, but hey, that's just me. So I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Be sure to leave a like on the video if you did enjoy, and comment down below what you think of the NHL's return to play plan, as well as their plan for the upcoming 2020 NHL Draft Lottery. Maybe subscribe to the channel as well if you're new, as the support is greatly appreciated by me and it keeps me motivated to keep going, pushing out more videos for you guys. Like I said at the start of this video, I will be uploading now every Wednesday and every Sunday, so expect more videos coming out on those days. Also, be sure to follow me on Instagram at goalie_hub, as I do some extra stuff on there. I haven't done too much new stuff on there lately, but I do sometimes do different series and different posts that might be interesting to you, and I also announce when I'm going to be uploading a video, so yeah, go follow me on there. So that just about does it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and definitely be sure to subscribe again. We are on the road to 500 subs. I believe we can do it. I think maybe we can do it by the end of the summer of 2020. Definitely, hopefully by the end of 2020, I want to have at least 500 subscribers. So let's go, boys.